Managing your emotions or having high emotional intelligence is very important because if you don't learn how to manage your emotions, you're going to constantly be reacting to life. You'll never be in control of your life. The best thing you can do for any of your relationships is to learn how to manage your emotions. Not only just manage them, but y'all, how can we master them? As someone who has had a reputation being the person, oh, don't say that around her. Oh my gosh, she gonna fight. She gonna do this. She gonna act a fool. She gonna cut up. Honestly, it got to the point to where my family, they stopped sharing things with me. And that happened over 20 years ago. Damn, I ain't in my, it wasn't no 20 years ago. This was 30 years ago. Y'all, time fly by like crazy, don't it? I remember my sister's car got broken into. My sister was in college. We both were in college at the same time. My sister assumed this group of people that broke into her car. Not only did they break into her car, but they peed in her car. And I became so irate. She was my older sister, my only sibling, but I was extremely protective of her. I drove my butt all the way, 4.5 hour drive through the night. I did have an accomplice with me. He was an offensive lineman that played at the college which was a big college that he played football there. Me and his 350 plus 6'7" guy hopped in my car and we drove all the way to accost the people that I thought broke into my sister's car. And I don't mean just accost them. I mean breaking into their house and confronting them. So trust and believe, I have come a long way in learning how to manage my emotions. Now, am I perfect? Hell no. No, and I'm not aiming to be perfect in anything. I'm aiming every day to be better. I'm no longer allowing life circumstances to control my life. And that's what we're going to talk about here, how to master your emotions, because if you don't, the life you want to live will always be outside of your reach. When I was talking about in the last video, one thing I clearly said was you have got to learn how to shut your mouth. So people didn't like that. And so let me reword that, because I have my beliefs, but I'm not necessarily a Bible thumper. But even the Bible says that there is power in the tongue, life and death. When I say that you have got to learn how to control your mouth, watch the words that come out of your mouth, that is not something that I'm making up. That is true. I would never tell anybody to not speak up for themselves. If that is what you took from that, then that is definitely not what I'm saying. I am a person, a queen, who will always speak my truth, not only for me, but for those around me who cannot. But when I say learn how to shut your mouth, what I mean is y'all learn how to control your mouth. Use it for good and not for evil. When you're not mastering your emotions, your mouth is slick and your mouth is going to get you in trouble. You will never learn how to master your emotions if you don't learn how to master your tongue. I think a lot of times when people use their mouth and it's not for good, it's because we feel like we have to say something. I have to say something. They say this, I'm going to say that. But you need to start asking yourself, why do I have to say anything? Why? So instead of using it to be very reactionary, and that doesn't mean you don't feel a certain type of way about something. Mastering your emotions means you have to process your emotions first. You can't just go around here knee-jerk reacting to everything. So the way you can use your mouth for good, be curious. Ask questions. If you're having a conversation with somebody, or if they said something that offended you or didn't sit right or something, why don't you just don't say anything yet? Don't say the first thing that comes to your mind, like this mother, there's the, and all these fingers and all that. Ask some clarifying questions, because one thing you want to understand is, why are you feeling this way? It could be some emotional trauma. It could be some childhood trauma. It could be something that's triggering you. You cannot live your life and always being triggered by somebody else. So you just wake up every day and just say, you know what? I'm just going to allow the world to trigger me. The best way to be in control of your life is to be in control of your emotions. I'm in a relationship. I'm with a partner. And he and I are constantly working on our communication. If you're in a relationship, you and your partner should absolutely always be working on improving your relationship. Do not go into your relationship thinking that I found love, then I can be an autopilot. In order to stay in love, in order to keep the love, you have to work at it. One thing that my partner and I absolutely do, we just went through this 2 weeks ago where I was not happy, okay, about something he said. I did not quirk out. The old V from even 10 years ago, I would have said something so mean, but I didn't. I sat on it. Y'all go quiet. I know he by now knows, because we've been together a few years now. I know by now he's like, okay, she must be thinking, she's processing something. And as much as he may want to talk about things and just get it over with, look, let's just have the conversation. No, I'm saving the relationship by shutting my mouth, by waiting to process my emotions before I say something that will ruin the relationship, before I say something that will hurt his feelings, that will further divide us and not bridge the gap. Do not allow anyone to rush your processing or rush your thinking. I'm not saying give them the silent treatment, because I'm not giving him the silent treatment. I am literally just sitting there just like processing my emotions, because that is key in mastering your emotions. You have to process them. You have to figure out, why are you feeling like this? And so if you don't ask the clarifying questions, if you don't get clarity on what you thought you saw, what you thought you heard, your whole mind has made up this story up here, and now you have become the victim in your own reality. You have now created this whole story about why somebody did all these things. You have created this whole narrative to make them the villain. And I know somebody like this. I know somebody like this. She is the victim in every story, and every chance she gets. Every chance she gets, she is the victim, and it's everybody doing something to her. People like that, and if that is you, I'm going to tell you right now, you will never have internal peace. You will never be in control of your life, because you have created this false narrative that you are constantly being the victim of other people's doings. Like you have no control over your own life. Mastering your emotions means controlling your emotions, recognizing your emotions, and managing your emotions. And the only way you're going to recognize it, the only way you're going to evaluate it and come up with the answer, y'all, is if you sit in peace and think on it. Not while your mouth is running, not while you sitting here cussing people out. Once you teach them that you can easily be triggered by XYZ, they will always in their back pocket be able to control you. Stop letting people know what triggers you. And hear me clearly, I'm not saying stop having emotions. Having emotions is normal. That's what makes us human. I'm saying stop allowing your emotions to run your life. Another thing about mastering your emotions, y'all, is about having empathy for somebody else. We live in a world that it's more important to get likes and views than it is to help our fellow person. Having emotional intelligence means to also care about somebody else besides yourself. Life ain't just about you. You're not the only person in this world. We automatically assume if somebody offends us that they intentionally are doing it. And then what do we do when we feel like we're the victim? What do? A lot of people go to their friends and they get emotional validation from their friends and say, yeah, that's how I saw, yeah, oh my gosh, they did, oh my gosh, they did this, they did. Instead of just one, not reacting, two, processing your emotions, trying to understand what about that interaction was not good, what is it? And then three, coming from a place of curiosity. Four, trying to understand your triggers. In order for you to understand your triggers, you have to process your emotions. Also, five, don't assume the worst. As easy it is for you to assume the worst about people, you can easily assume the best about somebody else. Just because you're very reactionary now, just because you are very knee-jerk reactionary now, doesn't mean that you always have to stay that way. Your emotions are internal. Your emotions are yours. You control your emotions. You control how you see things, how you feel about things. Only you can control that. Now, if you're in a relationship and you really want to learn how to apply these concepts a little bit more and become a high-functioning woman, y'all, please check out this video here. And this is the video where I did say shut your mouth, but I go into more details as to why you need to. And y'all, if y'all are in a relationship and your relationship is falling apart or your relationship is having issues, please, y'all, watch this video next, because I detail how you can save your relationship. Y'all, till next week, y'all take care.